This is Bye Money and welcome to my channel, and in this video we'll be doing a daily chart review, going bar by bar, reading the price action of the chart, and I like to find one single setup, two-legged pullback. And I like to find this setup in key areas such as moving averages, support, resistance levels, trend lines, and channels. If you don't know what the two-legged pullback is, simply it's a setup that looks like this. Call this first pullback, first entry, second pullback, second entry. We like to enter into the second entry right here. Also, we can identify them this way, call it an A, B, C pattern, and the next A leg, we like to enter in the second entry. So, if this is the first time seeing one of these videos on my channel, the chart review simply will go bar by bar, and we like to stop at every single second entry and analyze if we like to trade or not. Also, I like to mark good entries with green circles and bad entries with triangles, red triangles. And so all the good entries I'll mark with these circles. If you'd like to know more information about this setup, go ahead and check out the description below, and in it you'll find some links, some playlists going over the details of the setup. And also, if you look at the chart, there's a bunch of numbers above and below the candles. The dark red and dark green numbers represent second entries or two-legged pullbacks, and the magenta boxes represent traps. And so if you'd like more information about this indicator that automatically finds two-legged pullbacks, go ahead and check out the official website at www.twoleggedpullback.com. Alright, that's it for the introduction. Let's just jump right into it. These typically may go a little long, but it's worth it because we get to go and see every single entry and analyze them. So let's go through this chart bar by bar. Alright, so this green line is the mark of the beginning of the regular trading hours. It's the line. The line is one candle before the regular trading hours start, so we can see the regular trading hours start the candle. Also, this dashed line down here, this red dashed line, will be last trading day's close. This blue line, solid blue line, is a 20 MA, and this dashed line is a 240 SMA. And so I like to keep my charts minimal as possible so I can focus on the price action. But the 20 MA, 240 SMA are two indicators, two moving averages I like to have, just for because there's a couple things you can trade off of those things. And so we'll go ahead and begin. And here we go. Let's go bar by bar. Our first second entry comes right here, and I'll draw it out for you. In the beginning, I'll go a little slow for those who are just beginning, so you guys can track along. But here is the second entry. First pullback, first entry, second pullback, and when the candle breaks the previous candle's high, we have a second entry here. Now, what I consider the second entry, off the bat, actually, the first thing we notice, very good signal bar. Let's zoom in here. We see the signal bar is excellent. I'll get rid of the display so we can see how good the signal bar is. A lot of people ask, what is a good signal bar? A good signal bar, to me, is a candle that basically closes above the 50% of the entire range of the candle. And if you're going long, you would like to have a green body. I do not like dojis, and I consider dojis, as Mac considers them, either straight lines or one tick. And typically I skip any dojis unless the context is very good. But otherwise, I'll typically skip them. But as we can see here, the strength of this signal bar is very good, above the 50% line, plus a green body here. We are in an uptrend, so you guys ask yourself a question: if we see the second entry setting up, do we take it? And this is right in the beginning of the day, and we see that yeah, we're in the uptrend. We have the two-legged pullback, as we can just quickly see with the indicator, the dark green number here. But as I drew it out before, again, A, B, C, and we have a double bottom actually here with a second entry. So let's look at the rest of the context and make sure that this is good. Going to go back here a little bit, and let's find the beginning of this channel. So if I were to draw this trend line, I will probably begin right here. So channel like this, but as you can see, this breaks it, so actually I'll probably use this line. we have an uptrend here. We have a uptrend, and the uptrends, to make channels, we connect pivot lows, where if you connect two of them, there's no intersecting, it doesn't cross over any other points. And you go and make a parallel line, and you connect the pivot high that when connected between these two pivot lows, that it does not intersect any other points. So we cannot use this point because these intersect and it's still between these two pivot lows. We cannot use this point because these intersect. We can use this point here because if we draw this line backwards here, we can see that intersects no other points between this pivot and this pivot. So we'll go ahead and use this as the top pivot for our channel. And we are above the 20 EMA still, and we're riding along it very well. And so let's go back to where we just were, and I'll go up until we find this green line, and we find our entry right here. So as you can see, we have just broken this trend line. We have closed underneath it decisively, and it's not like it closed underneath it and came back up a bit, came back up into it, but we closed beneath it decisively. Not only that, we see this recent breakdown. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we won't include this, 8 non-bull bars in a row. This is the most recent downtrend, the most recent bear swing right here. And so now we have just broken this trend line. We are still above the 20 EMA, but I think we do have to recognize we are above this trend line. Typically, after this entry, what we like to look for is a higher low, or maybe even a double bottom such as this, to see if we can get just to see if we can retest the highs right here. But you do have to consider we just broke this trend line, and so going long could be very dangerous here. When I see this bar, and I saw this and if I saw this live, I would be very tempted to go here. But you do have this breakdown. I'll go ahead and actually mark this green here. Okay, we'll go ahead. And we do see that we popped above it as we see the second entry, but we can immediately see that we have a dark red 4 here, showing that we will be going into a trap. Now, would you consider this trap? I think this is another one we have to consider because it's a red 4 and a magenta box. So what we see here is actually not just a second entry, but a second entry trap. What do I mean by that? This is a second entry long. We can see it by counting it this way. First entry, first pullback, second entry, and if it breaks the previous candle's low, this will be a second entry short. But we can also see it's a failed second entry long because of the second entry we are actually in right now. By this first entry, first pullback, first entry, second pullback, and second. Let me do that again so I'm confusing you. I'm considering newbie here that's seeing this video for the first time. So we'll see this. First pullback, first entry, second pullback, second entry. Even though it's by only one tick, as we zoom in, we can see it broke the previous candle high by only one tick. That still counts, considers a second entry, and we see that it only goes up one tick. There's another thing that we failed to see, that this is actually beginning to become choppy. We have one, two, three overlapping bars right here. So that might have been something we had missed in order to assess this second entry. But let's just take for granted, because not every single second entry is 100%. It's about 90% or more. That's the probability we're trying to shoot for. But we have another second entry here. So how would I trade this? If I saw this setup, I saw a breakdown, and I saw a two-legged pullback, and I saw this fail here, would you consider reversing your position here, taking the hit, and entering this second entry short? What would you do? Would you reverse your position here if you saw this setup? we're still in an uptrend. We do see that we have a second entry fail. Pretty good signal bar, and very disappointing right after entering here. Would you consider going short here? I personally would go short here. It's actually one of the automated strategies that we have, would go short here on its own as well, because of how good of a setup this is. When you have this combination of both a second entry long, or a second entry short, a second entry and a failed second entry all in one place, this is typically a very good setup. And so I would go into this because I have an automated strategy that does this automatically for me. So there's a reason why I made those automated, because I think it's a good setup. And so I will also go into here. So at this point, what would happen here is this. You go in long here, and you would have your stop one tick below here, and you would have to reverse your position. And so I'm going to just mark where the one tick below is, where your stop entry is. And so let's go ahead and look at the next. Okay, so we were able to scalp out and reverse our position here and potentially have a runner. 1 second, actually, I'm gonna do something a little different here. All right, I just added just a record here of where we are at. That's above my avatar here. And so currently we are 1 and 1. And so that does not include runners. You know, if we're not including runners, we're not including also reversing our position so we can shorten our stop losses. We'll just consider a 1 to 4 risk ratio in every trade, and we'll see if we can be profitable today. And currently we are 1 and 1. And so to be profitable, if with 1 loss, we need to have 5 wins. And so we need 4 more wins to finally become profitable. So let's go ahead and stick to the rules as close as we can, and let's see if we can become profitable today, even with this 1 loser. So, and that's also, you know, if we consider you might be in a trade here with a runner, and you could potentially make a lot of money off these runners here. So let's go into the next setup. We have another setup here. Would we consider a setup? We are starting to go into a downtrend. I personally, after seeing this failed second entry here, even though this is a pretty good signal bar, I will look for a two-legged pullback like this. I'm looking for a downtrend. I'm trying to go short. So I want a two-legged pullback to go back to the 20 EMA around, or key area, and I will consider that. So I am not looking to go long at this point. I just got burned going long right here, and so why would I go long all of a sudden right now? I would skip this trade. So let's go. And we do make a point here, but we still skip it because of we are thinking we are in a downtrend. We just broke down and we made a two-legged pullback back up, and now we're reversing. So we continue to go forward. Let's see if we actually have our runner. So since we entered right here, this horizontal line actually represents our break even. So actually, what typically you'll do, you go break even plus 1 tick. And so let me see. Yeah, so 1 tick are the 25s. I couldn't see it, but at the 25s, if we don't hit this horizontal line, we could potentially still be in a runner here. We'll continue to go, and so we will wait for our next setup. Again, skipping this trade because we are looking for a short trade, not a long trade at the moment. We're thinking we're in a downtrend now, and you also have now to consider this downtrend. We do see it makes a point, but it's okay. We don't care if it makes a point because it's a terrible long to go into. And we'll keep going until we see dark red 2 here, and we want to go into this a lower low plus a second entry, or sorry, a lower high plus a second entry off the 20 EMA. So we have a two-legged pullback like this, A, B, C. And so the reversal here will be a second entry, and it's right off the top of this trend line. Plus, technically, this is actually was right here. So it's a failed breakout, right? Because it was like this, breaks out, comes back in. So it's a failed breakout, and now we're making a pretty good signal bar. It is a doji, but the context is very good, and so I would definitely consider going to this. Definitely consider going to this trade here. A lower high. We can easily see it's a lower high because it's a dark red too. What do I mean by lower high? I'm going to just kind of go slow in the beginning here for anyone watching. So, for the first time. So we can just kind of hash out these concepts right now. What I mean by lower high is this. There are two variations of a two-legged pullback. You have the classical, where the pivot high breaks above the previous pivot high, and you have this variation, where the pivot high stays below the previous pivot high. These are both two-legged pullbacks for second entry short. As long as the pivot low doesn't break below the previous pivot low, we're still a second entry short here, a two-legged pullback to the short side. As long as it doesn't look like this, that's fine. As long as the pivot low stays above the previous pivot low, the count continues, and so we have a pivot high that's lower than the previous pivot high. So this is the second entry. This is a very good setup, and yeah, I am definitely going into that trade. Right, as you can see here, this is a second variation, because if I bring this over here, you can see that this pivot high is below that pivot high by one tick, and so we do have a lower high here. So let's see what happens, and boom, we make our scalp, and let's update our record here. So we have 2-1 now. And remember, we need to get up to 5 if we want to. And that's, you know, like when you see this, you're like, that's a pretty good setup. But the idea is, even if you take the best setups, you take them, and you get hit sometimes. And sometimes you need to be fast on your feet and think maybe reversal. Like, if you're trading this live with right money management, you could already be green right now if you had reversed your position. But let's continue to go into the next setup. And sorry, I went too fast, but I'm skipping this trade, of course. This is obviously counter trend. Skipping this trade. It does give you a perfect scalp here, as you can see, with this 3 with a gold box around it. And so potentially you could be trapped here. So good thing we skipped that, because we could potentially be trapped. If you came with a retracement, you would be filled. But as of right now, you would be trapped. So we skipped that trade. That's the reason why we skipped dojis. At this point, you're kind of wondering, man, this downtrend is not as strong as you might think it is. So you might even consider this, but it's a lower low. And if you're going counter trend, you do not want to trade the lower lows. It does give you a point though. The idea is not, you know, you're going to enter into every single scalp that makes a point. The idea is every scalp you take, you want to make a point. And so you could fail here. You know, there's a lot of times you could fail here. Not fail. There's a lot of times that the scalp will make a point, but we skip it. Because the idea is we want the best setups. It can maybe work this time, but the next time, who knows? We want that greater than 90% setup. Keep going. And while we're in this channel, this channel is very respected, as we can see here. I made this channel from this pivot high and this pivot. We can even update it here to this pivot low, and we have this channel being respected as of now. So we do have a green one here. Skipping it. Doji plus counter trend. And this is why we skip it. Do we want this trap? I would highly, at this point, consider this trap here. So actually, I'm going to take this trap. The reason why, even though we just broke down, we're on such a strong downtrend. This trap I would consider to go in. Why is this a trap? Okay, so let me slow down things down here. Why is this a trap? Sorry, not this one. A, B, C. We have a two-legged pullback, and on the second entry, right? First pullback, first entry, second pullback, second entry. We see here that we broke the previous candle's high by one tick and it reversed. Now we have an amazing signal bar for a trap. I will consider this trap. The reason why it's a trap is because it hasn't made a scalper's profit. A scalper's profit is 5 ticks, 1 tick for the stop entry, 4 ticks for the point, and so it's failed. A failed second entry, so this is what we call a trap here, and I would consider this trap right here. Let's go. Still haven't made a point. Finally made a point. So where are we now? We are at 3-1. Okay, again, skipping this. Doji plus counter trend. Gross. No, thank you. And as we can see, it fails to make a point and it traps again. I wouldn't consider this trap because we're so far away, and I wouldn't just do the the second one because it's kind of overextended at this point. So I'm skipping this one, and that's why I skip it. At this point, actually, I might consider going long because of the setup right now, because we're actually at the bottom of this channel, and we can actually make a point to the 20 EMA, and with a pretty good signal bar. I would consider going long here actually, but let's keep it at 90%. We are still on a pretty strong downtrend. I would like to see a higher low if I were to consider maybe going long with enough room. But with a trend this strong going down right now, it's kind of hard to say. So I'll skip this trade. Even though the signal bar looks good and it could very highly probable to make a point, I'm skipping this one. And as you can see, it does give you a point pretty easily here. And it keeps going up. We'll keep going until we see second entry here is higher low here, and we do have the higher low setup. You know what? At this point, I will still be looking for this setup here. Two-legged pullback to the 20 EMA. And so actually, I would skip this and see if we can make that two-legged pullback to the 20 EMA. See if we can get a scalp going with trend here. So we're skipping this trade, even though most likely it will make a point as well. Skipping that trade, and oh, you know what? I miscounted this. I was confused. I thought this was going second entry long side. This is actually second entry short. Anyways, I'll skip it. Terrible signal bar. So we'll skip it anyways. Makes a point easily because it's with trend, but terrible signal bar. So we'll just skip it. And we see this. Now we're seeing some fighting from the bulls. You know, right here we had a pretty strong downtrend, but now we're seeing some fighting, right? Because now we're seeing bull bars mixed in with these bear bars. And there's no follow through on these bear bars. We have a strong bear bar here, but a reversal. And so we do notice that the bulls are fighting, but that's not enough reason for us to go in long yet. We're still going downtrend. Only way we would really go long is maybe perhaps if we see a good setup like a wedge or a double bottom of some sort. And okay, does make you a point though. Comes back to the 20 EMA, as you can see here. We'll keep going. It's not even 10 o'clock, and we already entered possibly 4 trades. We do have a second entry here, and this is a second entry short. I would definitely consider going to here. But notice we are starting to see stronger bull bars here mixed in with these bear bars. And so you're gonna have to start thinking when you're reading this price action, how strong is this bear trend now? We have some evidence that it's been weakened, but we have a lower high here and a downtrend at a key entry at the 20 EMA, a two-legged pullback, lower high at key area, and so most likely A, B, C, and the next reversal will be a second entry short with a decent signal bar. You do have to notice this. Is this sorry, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. My hotkeys got messed up. I got a new keyboard, and so I'm still messing with these hotkeys. The format of my keyboard is a little different now, but no matter. We'll get there soon, I believe. Okay, here we go. So we have starting to have a trading range here, and this trading range could actually cause us some issue, but I like it because of the lower high here, and we'll trigger underneath the trading range with trend. So I'm still considering this a very, very likely trade here for scalp at least. All right, let's go. See if we scalp out here. And see this, and I'm not considering this one. I'm still in this. Sorry, I just kept going because I want to see if we scalp out. But if I saw this, I still wouldn't consider this because of our strong downtrend. So we'll skip this one. And we do see it pops up and gives us a double top here. And good thing we skipped it because that's counter trend. You want to be careful right there. We still have not broken this trend line. So what is difference between, so where are we here? We're 4 and 1, so we are break even now at this point. Let's see here. What's the difference between this second entry trap, second entry and failed second entry long, failed second entry short and second entry long? What's the difference between this one and this one? Well, the main thing is this one comes after a break of trend. This one here doesn't have a break of trend yet. And so we're not thinking reversal at this point. We're still thinking downtrend. And that's the difference. And that makes all the difference because you know, that will bite you in the butt. And so we will be rewarded because of our prudence. So we're 4 and 1, even with that one loss. Now we're pretty much break even, but we don't want to be break even. We want to make some profit today. So now let's start going into some good setups here. Sorry, I didn't see this, but I will skip this. Terrible signal bar. Skipping this. It does seem like it gives you a, not yet, okay, it gives you a point now. So now this starts to break out. Now you're thinking perhaps I may enter long because we had just broken this downtrend. This is the only time you will start considering to go long now. And we'll keep going until we see a second entry. We see a second entry short here with a lower high. Man, that actually looks pretty nice. I do like this trade, but we did just break out and strong downtrend. I'm gonna have to skip this, even though I really like this trade. I like it because it's a perfect scalp as well. And so perfect scalp is basically when the previous swing or previous leg makes exactly 5 ticks. That means that there's potential trap traders here, and so the reversal here might, it can act as a trap, to be honest. And so the second entry here is actually very, very probable. Plus, you've been on a strong downtrend. This is the first break above the trend plus the 20 MA, and so you have a good chance to make a point. But I just don't think there's enough room. I think the bottom of this candle scares me. There's not enough room there, so I will skip this trade. Even though I really do like this trade a lot. It does give you a point. I really do like this trade a lot, and so unfortunately I have to skip it because you know, we just broke out, and so we just broke out not that long ago before here, and that hurt us. And so I'm still probably thinking about that. And so but the setup as well, you know, we just broke out, so we're kind of hesitant now. We want to see more evidence that this is not a reversal. So we'll keep going until we find our next second entry. Boom, 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 boom. The downtrend continues. As you can see, we've re-entered into our channel here. So let's update our channel. Still a valid channel. And I think we're still good on the bottom line here. And we'll keep going. So we do have a second entry here. I am very interested in this second entry. I can just say that right off the bat. If I saw this like real time, I would just be like, I'm in this. We do have strong downtrend. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 out of the last bars. 6 out of the 8 last bars have been bear bars ending near their low. But we have a 240 SMA plus potential double bottom here with a lower bottom, a lower low. You know what? I'll wait for the higher low here. I'll wait for the higher low. Another reason why I really like this one is because we had our breakout, right? As we saw here. Typically after breakout, we have a two-legged pullback and retesting the lows. I would like a higher low here I'll enter the higher low. I will skip this one, even though it hurts. That hurts to skip. But to be a good trader, let's go for the higher low here. Higher low setup. Let's see if we get it. I doubt we get it, but boom, gives you a point anyways. This one, we skipped it. We want the higher low. Will we get the higher low? We do not get the higher low, and then we get a lower low. Definitely not interested in this. So that's a shame. We do miss that, but we want the higher probable trade, which would have been a higher low. But yeah, it is what it is, and we'll skip it, even though we did miss that. This gives you a point here. Amazing. Actually, not a point. Actually, it's a point now. Gives you a point for sure. Absolute scalp. Okay, so we get a higher low here. Very interesting. Double bottom, potential higher low, off the 24 SMA. Enough room to the 20 EMA here. Trading range, possible trading range here. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard because I'm seeing trading range. Let me see this trading range. This trading range extended. Looks like this. I would really consider this because of the higher low setup off the 240 SMA. The only problem is I'm scared that do we have enough room from the bottom here? Could act as resistance. That hurts. This really hurts to skip this. No. I gotta take this trade. This is a good trade for me. Higher low setup. I just wish there was enough room. There's not enough room. Starting to go into slight trading range here. Actually, let me delete this. Starting to go into slight trading range here. It looks like this as of now. Enough room to top, enough room to 20 MA. That's tough. For prudence sake, I'll skip this, but that's tough. Man, nah, I gotta go into this one. Sorry, I'm fickled here. I'm obviously fickled. Since I'm fickled, I'm skipping this because that'll be really hard to make a decision live. Gives you a point, easy. Gives you a point, easy. Exactly to where I thought I was gonna go, to the top of this trading range where I drew. Whew. Okay, gonna skip this next one. Terrible signal bar. It is a two-legged pullback to the 20 MA, but we're just gonna skip this because the signal bar is bad. And good thing we skipped it. Trap here. Nah, we're at the top of the trading range. Man, that's unfortunate. It went right to exactly the top of the trading range where I thought it was gonna hit. Where I drew back here. But you know, we continue. The higher low. That hurts. That hurts, man. I wish I took that. But we'll skip it. And ooh, I want to go low. I want to go short here. For sure. So now we have a trading range, and at this point we'll update it down to here because we have these extra bodies to include with multiple touches. And so we have a second entry short here. A, B, C. Not only that, this failed second entry long, failed, and now we're gonna have reversal. And this is a trade I would love. Even though the signal bar looks pretty bad, this context is too good. And so I will enter this short here, second entry short. Enough room to the bottom of this trading range, and still have not made our scalp yet. We're about, sorry, I can't see this. We're about one tick away from our scalp, and boom, okay, goes down. So you would have a runner here, and believe it or not, I do have this trade, and I did take this trade live, and so I'll go ahead and post it for you guys, so you can see me trading this specific setup live here. So that makes us now 5-1. We're in Profit City. Let's continue to the next setup here. Like I said, these videos are going to be long, but it's because I'm thorough. I'm thorough for you guys. I'm doing this for you guys. It's for my benefit too, but you know, I'm posting this up as content for you guys, and so hopefully this is helpful, so you guys can all trade the two-legged pullback, get those scalps, get those low-hanging fruits that the market, that the institutions gives us. And so, okay, so we have a long entry here, bad signal bar, counter trend, but we are hitting the bottom of this this channel here. So you could consider going long here because of how broad this is, but I would say also we are hitting yesterday's close, last trading day's close. I would like possibly a higher low setup here because this is the very first reversal and we're banking on it. It's a red body, bear body. I would actually really consider this trade, but I would I'm skipping this because I want a higher low setup here. And boom, it gives you a point because of all those things that we're talking about. Yesterday's close plus the trend line here on the bottom channel, and it does give you a point. A lot of people are probably waiting for this setup, and I would really consider this setup, but I'll skip it because the higher probable trade is actually a higher low here. Let's see if we get the higher low setup. Okay, we don't get a higher low setup because you can see actually it's a 1 here. It needs to be a 2. So what happens is this breaks down, comes back up. So I will skip this trade. It's actually a lower low. And if I saw this, yep, definitely skipped it. I would not even go with it. If I saw this now with the micro double bottom, I would consider actually going in with a retracement here, back to the top here. So you see you have this here. And if I saw this price action coming back down, making a micro double bottom off a strong support right here, and showing this bullishness, I would actually go long here. So it's not a second entry from here, but because of the price action, and if you're watching this live, I would actually go in long here with a retracement. Because look at how it's ending. We have a micro double bottom now, and we have all of this evidence kind of showing that we want to actually go up a little bit here, and we make a perfect scalp. It starts to reverse, but like I said, I will go in with a retracement there, so you actually would have been able to scalp out there. What do I mean by retracement? I will go in with a retracement back to the top here, the high, not one tick above the high, but exactly the high. And when that gap fills, I'm gonna go in long there. So I would have been filled just enough, but because of the retracement, I'm able to get out. There is a possibility even without the retracement you'll be able to get out, but for sure if you do go in the retracement, you will be out 100%. And don't forget, we do have a runner that we still have not stopped out at from the top, so this could potentially be thousands and thousands of dollars, but we're not even considering that with the runner. But I'll go back after maybe at the end of this chart review and see how much that runner could have potentially have made. We're going to keep going. We're not even at 10 o'clock, boys, and we're in 7 trades. This is a lot of price action. This is unusual. This is a very high volume for price action trading. So let's continue here. Skipping this trade. Counter trend. Gives you a point. Comes back. See, okay. Comes back, and now we're reversing here. We do have a more minor trend line that's broken now. That looks like this. And so if with a higher low, you can consider maybe going long here. And we do get a higher low here with this too, but it's not a second entry higher low because it broke above the previous pivot high. And so we're going to skip this trade. It's not even a second entry, but just, you know, for some people would actually enter this trade, and it does give enough for a point because people are waiting for the higher low setup, which is a pretty good setup. I believe Mac would take this setup. You're really questioning now, are we in reversal? And you're thinking maybe we're going to hit the top of this trend, this trading range. And so, sorry, this channel. Skipping this trade. I hate dojis. And does that give you a point? It gives you a perfect scalp right now. Still hasn't reversed, so you haven't trapped out yet. But there it is. Okay. So we skip that one, keep going. So now we're thinking possible reversal, but we need to see how it reacts to the top of this channel. Strong bull bars ending near their high. As you can see in the last previous about 10 bars, most of them are bull bars ending near their high. And so that's pretty strong buying pressure. And we have a 1 here. We cannot take this trade. We cannot take this trade. Strong bull, terrible signal bar anyways, so doesn't matter. Skip this trade. And that's why we skip it, but it does give you a point right here. And now we have a lower high setup with a amazing signal bar. Yeah, you're definitely going into that. We're definitely going to this. It's an outside bar. And with the indicator, if you had the outside bar reversal turned on in live trading, this would actually already have triggered. But this would trigger on the next bar because the outside bar reversals don't calculate on historical bars. And so, but live trading, you would see that this single bar pops up and reverses. So in this bar, you have not only the fourth bull leg, but also be a second entry, second pullback down. That's a lot of information with just these numbers that you can easily get with the indicator, but it's hard to get it when you manually trade. But you have all that information right here before you. So that's one of the benefits of the indicator, because some of the counting gets very complex, to be honest. So, but you have a lower high here, amazing signal bar off the 240 SMA. The only problem is that actually there is enough room to the 20 EMA here. Let's see if we have enough room to this. If we draw a trend here, trend line, enough room, barely enough room back to the trend line here. I would consider this trade. I'll go into this. And yes, we do come and scalp out. And not only that, we have a two-legged pullback coming back up. And so within here, we were able to scalp out. So that gives us 7. And now we have a two-legged pullback, possibly breakout. And so A, B, C. Two-legged pullback off a 20 MA off a uptrend. Good signal bar. You gotta take this trade as well. Goodness gracious. This is just too many setups here. Amazing signal bar. Enough room to the top of the previous bar. It's just, you might not be able to get a big runner here, but it's a good setup for a scalp. And boom, you get your scalp. It might have been better if you waited for the second one, but you wouldn't have stopped out. You could actually double up your position here. And so, sorry, I just went so fast because I wanted to see if you know, we made this. And boom, we made it. And so you could double up your position here. I would not have reversed my position because we do have this, you know, we're just in this trend up here, uptrend. So I would not go short there, but plus we're above the 20 MA. So potentially here now, 8 scalps because you've been doubled up here. Major scalp here. Now you're thinking we're between the 240 SMA and the 20 EMA, and now we're going to probably start seeing trading ranges here. As you can see, it's already starting to happen. Going. Okay, reversal. I'm going to start making this into a channel here. Let's update this to a channell. And our channel is going to look like this. We're at the top of the channel here, breaking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strong bull bars. And you gotta skip this, even though it's a decent signal bar. But look how small the signal bar is compared to the buying pressure. You do not want to just go short. You know, the only way to consider maybe going short is a lower high. You need more evidence. You need more evidence that this is going to reverse, and this is not enough. You need more evidence that this buying pressure has stopped. That's not enough evidence for you. And that's exactly why you don't take that short, because this traps you out, as you can see here. So good thing we didn't take that trade. Now this one you're considering, maybe we're losing our buying pressure and we try to reverse here, essentially pops up, we're trying to reverse again, and so you could potentially consider this trade. But for me, I would like the lower high setup, not a higher high setup. Good signal bar though. But yeah, this is a very, this is like an 80% trade. Like an 80% you'll make his point here, but we want 90% or higher. And boom, you do make your point there. We're looking for 90% higher. I'm just trying to mark like the setups that are like almost like 100%. You're just like, this hits all the criteria. and it's just like, you know, it would be foolish for me not to take it. And here is a good setup, but not the best setup. So we're going here, and as you can see, it's still going up, right? We're still seeing some pressure here. At this point, you'll think trading range, overlapping bars, and our trading range will look like this for now. And again, stopped here. Not enough room to the bottom trading range. Skipping this trade. And that's why we do not enter here, because you see where it stopped, right at the bottom of the trading range. And it does give you a point. But before it gives you a point, it probably actually reversed on you, then reversed back. And so that's actually pretty scary. With that reversal up and reverse back down, if you have the outside bar reversal, I might have considered that going live if this was a live trade, coming back up and coming back down and breaking beneath the trading range. But because we have only historical bars, we can't see the actual formation of this candle. And so in live trading, I might have considered going short after the second attempt down, because we're seeing that we're hitting the top here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Could even get up, misses by 1 tick and reverses. So you might consider going the second time. But because we don't have the live formation of this bar, we can't decide. But in live trading, I potentially will probably have entered there to go short. Okay, let's wait for our next pullback. Okay, do we want to go long here? Two-legged pullback. A, B, C. Two-legged pullback. Decent signal bar. Uptrend. Staying above the 20 MA. Do you want to go in this trade? Not enough room to the bottom of this trading range. That would be hard to go into. Even though it is a two-legged pullback back to the 20 EMA, we do have to consider that this bottom of this trading range may act as resistance. So we skip this one, and we want to see if we react to this trading range here. And boom, we hit the bottom of the trading range. Now it's acting as resistance. And it comes back, and now we have another setup that potentially wants to come back up and test the bottom trading range. A lower, higher low. Doji bar here. 2. It's not enough room back to the top here. It's barely enough room actually. Whoops. Okay, just reveal the next bar. Knowing that, it might influence my decision, but let's look at this setup right now. Do have enough room to the back up here, but seeing that hit reverse, you're thinking this could be tough. I could be biased here, but I'm skipping this trade. To go long here. And so, yeah, real live trading, that could be hard to have skipped. Let me see. There it is. Double top. This is what's happening here. So we double topped here, and now we're thinking we're gonna reverse. Definitely skipping that trade. That's why you guys always gotta look to the bars to the left, and this is why we're starting to see this price action. You can consider going short here with this trap, second entry long, fail second entry long, and second entry short. But yeah, I would consider this good signal bar, and yeah, one of my favorite setups. Let's do it. Very good signal bar. Rejected off here, missed it, and now we're reversing. The only problem is that this trend line, we're still kind of in this uptrend, but we have been rejected at this double top here. As you can see, this double top from here to here on a strong downtrend. And so Yeah, let's go for it. Strong. I think you can scalp out here. And boom, we're able to scalp out. Go 9 and 1. With a runner, possibly, potentially, you can have a big runner here. Very big runner here. Very, very big runner here. Coming back all the way to the yesterday's close. And just skipping all these, huh? Definitely not going long there. Trap here, skipping it. Most likely give you a point because you want to get to the yesterday's close. We'll keep going. I'm going to keep going to hit one more scalp here. 10 scalps I think is enough for us for today. Plus, if you're trading this live, you'll be done with your scalps within before even an hour of trading. So let's continue going until we hit our next scalp. Definitely not going long there. That's why we don't go long. Actually, it does give you a point. So we're seeing some support at yesterday's close. Still, again, came back down here. But strong downtrend, it's just hard to consider going long there. Keep going till we hit our next second entry. Okay, second entry short here. Strong downtrend. Bounced off here. Bounced off here. We're confused, man. We are very confused. This market is very confused. So, let's see. Would I go into short here? The fact that we broke above here. The fact that we have a trading range down here now. As you can see with these bars. I'm thinking we probably will go back down here, but I need a lower high. I need a lower high setup. That does give you a point. Lower high setup. Definitely interested here. Where are we? Yes. Lower high setup. Because you're thinking we're going to test the bottom of this range again. On this downtrend. Strong downtrend. Bounce. Typically breakouts fail. But I want to enter the lower high to retest either the top of this range or the bottom of this range. But I'm thinking we're coming back into this range. And boom, we come back and we hit right at the top of the range. And we could definitely have a runner here. And guess where it hits? The bottom of the range. Also yesterday's close. So we'll give ourselves a 10-1 here. 10 scalps right there. Even goes down a little further. Gives you a little more points. But you probably could scalp out already by now. At least scalp out one tick above here as it reverses. So, yep, so that's 10 scalps, and I'm just going to stop there just because this video is already probably very long, and I think that's enough already for us, and so, yeah, I think, that's probably enough for our review for today. Hopefully that's been very helpful. Before I end this, I'm going to go ahead and see how many points that one runner would have potentially have given us. We have the setup here that we really wanted to go into, and we could have a potential runner here, and like I said, the break even or the stop out would be this horizontal line. And so we're at 3804. And you could potentially have held it down, let's say back to this, the maximum, let's just say the maximum here. I'm ghetto. There's probably a tool for this, but it's 44-point runner. If you had one runner at 44 points, that's $2,000. So potentially, most likely you would not be able to keep it here and hit that low perfectly. But good chance you could at least came to yesterday's close and start to see these reversals. You might consider to go to reverse a position there. But that is depending on how you manage your runner. And yeah, you could have potentially got $2,000 off one runner from here to all the way down here. So that's it for today's video. Hopefully that's been helpful for you guys. And as always, happy trading and God bless.